Elio guys, and welcome back. And in today's old video we have some hot takes coming from FloridaGuy's account review, because it was a super duper long review which I can still upload if you guys are interested. I figured I would kind of condense it down so you guys can see some of the wild and wacky things that Florida Guy had happened to say during the whole account review. And also keep in mind he does have his own YouTube channel, so I will be leaving a link to his YouTube channel in the description below, so if you guys want to check him out and feel free to support him, then I highly recommend you guys to do so. But let's go ahead and get right into the video. And then also Fire Verde, but you only have one Evo 3 Fire Shinobi?
Yes.
And you do have Fire Scheherazade too. Okay, that would explain it then. I just wish they would like swap these freaking Astromon skills or something. Like, why do we have Courageous Strike on the 5-star slot? Like, you're making it based on RNG.
Yeah, honestly, for the Titan fights, which is where I'll bring her sometimes on the second string Titan team for wood, having it there is not necessarily bad, because every time she gets the full orb, she gets to use it, because it's generally all or nothing. She either is going to get it or she's not going to get it. And if she doesn't get it, she can land a blind, which helps the rest of the team because it means they take less damage.
But I mean, yeah, but if you take a look at her attack stat, it's only 2.5k. There's her ceiling in terms of doing damage is already severely just hampered.
Oh, well, absolutely. She's on the second string team. If I've already used my fire team for another wood run, I'll switch over and I'll probably slot her in. She's not on a primary team for it. And she's also a 4-star mon. She's not a 5-star mon to start with.
Wait a minute. Can you explain this to me?
Which part?
You have your Valk Ultimate Evo, which is fine. You can take trinkets off and stuff like that. She has recovery seal, but she has 2 crit rate gems on her.
Oh, did I put 2 crit rate gems on her? Maybe. What's the crit rate? She's got.
What do you mean by that? Because there's crit rate attack, and then there's also crit rate.
Oh, yeah, I guess I do have 2 crit rate. Well, she's got it. Okay, so go back to her primary skill for a second.
For Predator? Skill.
Yeah, Predator. Increased damage dealt by 50%. So right now, and I'll justify it. It's going to be a bad justification. But right now, I'm going to take your team, for example, your defense team that you mentioned for PvP. So that's one of the places, if I was going to use her, I would use her, would be PvP. You have Merlin, who's dropping the enemy attack. No, enemy resist. Scratch that. All right, so your team's not a good example, but there are teams that drop enemy crit rates. And so this way, even if you have a crit rate drop lead, and you have because they put crit resistance as an enhancement, as well as I think is on the trinkets. So you have mons and teams that you might lose 30 to 40% of your crit rate chance. So if I've got 118% crit rate, there's a really damn good chance, even if you got crit resistance, I'm still going to land the crits on you. And in order to really scale the damage for the Predator, you really need to land the crit.
Yes, I would argue, but also no.
And I probably also didn't have another good square gem to slot on there, so that's probably the reason why.
You could hit this type of crit rate with an intuition set. Like, it's definitely possible without sacrificing another slot for the crit rate gem. And even then, if they do resist the crit anyways, the problem comes in if she's surviving long enough to get her attack up off, because at that point in time, if you're lucky enough with her critting or someone else on your team critting, somebody on the opposite side's probably going to die. I mean,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Because she doesn't have anything like crit related, so what I'm saying is, if I saw her as like a dark type and this was an issue, obviously because they have the innate higher crit damage, then I'd be like, I'll let it pass. But with her being RGB,
if I had her as a Darkmon, I would be very upset if I saw this layout on her. Because the Dark Valky is a 2-turn stunner on the first slot. And why do you need a high crit rate for a 2-turn stunner on the first slot? Their job is to survive and not get knocked and not get debuffed so they can't do anything, and actually stun the other team out so they never do anything.
No, I meant for this example, if she was a dark type, not saying replacing Dark Valkyrie,
okay.
but if she had this skill kit and she was a dark type, then I could let it slide. But she does need healing if she, well, to help them, if that makes any sense, to help them keep their HP.
It does, but you know, she is, how to put this best? It's very rare that I've had a healer make the difference because they had low healing or high healing and the team losing or winning a fight. If the healer's coming along, they're healing, but you only need just enough healing to survive. You don't need to be overdoing it. Because, I mean, how much more than 100% health are you going to get?
What do you mean, for like the healer or for like the attacker?
For the healer. Or for any of the units. When you throw a heal, let's say your mon's at 60% health, and your heal is going to get them to 150% health. They don't get a temporary health boost. They cap out at whatever their max health is. So if you're going to be throwing over healing on something, then you're wasting that healing. Now, granted, if you have, you know, if I was running a team of Dark Mihos with a Wood Draka or a Light Shiva, you know, hit point based team, you absolutely want the higher recovery so you get more health back. But if you're with a team that's only got, you know, 50, 60,000 hit points, how much total healing do you need to throw on a heal to heal them back up? Unless I'm completely misunderstanding the heal mechanic. It's not healing them of a percentage, it's healing them of X flat amount worth of heal.
Well, when I'm taking a look at her, I'm looking at her more from like a Titans aspect, which may be part of the rift here. Because she's like a key unit in terms of Titans. So her having that higher heal stat, even though you can't, obviously you don't get any benefit from overhealing, but in a situation of where you need to keep someone, like, say for instance, I don't know, your Courageous Striker's topped off, that's going to be the most important aspect, because not only is she topping them off, but we also have the benefit of the attack up, if that makes any sense. Like, I want them to be fully healed because that crit could kill them.
No, absolutely. If she is in the lead, though, the crit chance of killing them is diminished because she's hitting the Titan with the attack down. Granted, you know, it's still going to scale because it's a crit, but the attack damage you're taking is less overall.
Now, I want you to explain to me what's going on here.
Why she's not on a defense set?
Out of all the sets in the world, she doesn't have to be on a defense set. She could literally have 2 Valor gems and one other gem, and I would have went like, okay, it is what it is.
I'm pretty sure all 3 of those are defense gems, and I needed to have all defense gems on her, and that was the only set that I had at the time that could fit on her that were all defense gems. So that's why she's got the attacker set for all defense gems.
But within these gems, like, some of the subs aren't, I mean, you have an HP sub on that one, but that's literally it. The set bonus doesn't bring anything to the table, is what I'm saying.
No, I know. I'm well aware. We talked earlier about why it's a good idea, but will drive you crazy to yank all your gems off of all your mons and then reassign all your gems to fix stuff.
Ooh, what about Kana? How is Kana doing for you?
I actually choose a second stringer. I mean, you've seen all the Courageous Strikers I have right now on my wood. So she's a second stringer for wood in case there's a high level water Titan I've already hit once. But she's got defense break and Courageous Strike. So she can land some good
What
damage.
is this?
I didn't say she was perfect. I just told you she's a second stringer. So
I don't think I've ever seen a wood Amayoji on a Siphon set.
She actually, well, this is a first then. Okay, so the benefit for her being on a siphon set is, in theory, if I actually get some crit rate gems on her, so she's actually useful. Right now, keep in mind, she's an Evo 2, so I'm really not using her. But at Evo 3, if I get a crit rate gem on there and she's used in Titan, she would always be able to get her Courageous Strike off every turn, because she would always get her siphon filled up. But she's not there yet. She needs some friends.
I forgot Light Lucy even existed, or shall I say, Light Snow White.
Yeah, no, she is Snow White. I mean, that's like the light panda bear was Gordon Ramsay until they changed the name.
My favorite thing about Snow White, though, is like, oh, I have Dark Snow White, and my mind is just like, Dark White. I know it's a name, but...
Yeah. I actually do like the Light Knightly. I don't use her as much as I used to, but, I mean, she is, especially with the Super Ascension skill I got on her, very durable.
Now, do you see anything wrong with this picture?
Oh, no, she's got 2 attacks on there.
Okay, just checking.
But what am I going to do? Re-roll them and get recoveries?
Well,
I'll answer that for you. No, I'm not going to re-roll them and put recovery in there.
I was going to say there's an HP slot and there's also another defense slot you could go for. Not saying you have to do it, but FYI, if anyone out there has attack on their Light Nikes, you need to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You have a whole bunch of Light Sand Wraiths, but why?
Because I thought at one point it would be a really good idea to get the Courageous Strikers, so I'd have more Courageous Strikers for when I was attacking the Dark Mons, or the Dark Titan. And they actually can throw some good damage. The thing is, if you don't have a lot of Courageous Strikers for each of your elemental advantages, I think you're wasting your damage against them. So I was trying to get some more mons that had Courageous Strike, and the Light Sand Wraith has Courageous Strike.
Okay, I just wanted to know. Just interested. Because, I mean, one of my issues, this isn't any, well, it's partially my fault, but having access to a whole bunch of Astromon, I feel like at times my viewpoint gets skewed because my normal isn't the normal of other people, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes sense.
Having you kind of explain these things to me helps me to kind of realize that obviously people have different mon boxes and think different ways in order to achieve hopefully the same goals.
Yeah. No, I mean they can do really good damage against Dark Titan.
It's just the whole, I just hate having the Courageous Strike on the 5-star skill.
Well, I mean, the 5-stars, and the thing is, you have to remember, against the Titans, they're throwing 2 orbs out every turn that give you 100% SP. It's dependent on where it lands. So if it lands on them, they're going to throw good damage. Only so much attention and so much time either of us have.
I wanted this account to be pristine when I looked at it. I've given you at least like a 6-month head start on this.
I have good the Astromons that I really care about and like. They have, the appropriate and well thought out gem sets. Like the Light Shiva here, he actually has in my opinion, a good set for him.
You say that, but he also has attack.
He should have some attack. You want some attack on your units. He's got, yeah, and he's got like 110,000 hit points, and you put him in lead, and he gets another, 20-30% more on top of that. So he has like 104, I did the math at one point, he's got like 140,000 something hit points. And he's healing 10% of that up every time he attacks for his regular attack. So So, and for him, I've never really used him for attack damage. I mean, he's a tank. He's a tank for a reason. You use him for healing, SP boosting your team. I've got stun set on him, so when he does get his ult off, he's going to do some damage. But the more important part is for that 20% to trigger and lock out at least one of their people for the next turn.
Which is why I was focusing on attack, because he's a tank.
And actually, this is the Light Zephyr I told you I use for PvP. She actually is really useful.
I thought that was a dude.
Now, Light Zephyr thought it was a girl.
I'm pretty sure that's a dude. Zephyros? I never heard of a... Well, this is Monster Super League, where we do have... Like, isn't Zubaji, like, actually, like, a boar or something? Like a male boar, but it's a female? Something like that.
Before you switch off, switch this back to the character view mode instead of the box mode up at the top. And then...
Yeah, that's a dude.
I thought it was a girl, but...
That is a dude.
I guess...
Well, then it's a dude.
Well, then it's a dude.
I don't see...
It's a dude with hair. Yeah, so never mind. So it is a dude. I still use him. I still like him. It's now, instead of like her, I like him. So congratulations. He's been downgraded. him.
I'm gonna have to keep that in this video for sure. But no, he looks fine. And recovery, seal, he also has a shock. The 2 turns, 70% shock too. Like, that's great.
Yes, with the resistance down and that shock. So that team, him combined with the light Yuki, combined with the water gene, by the time these ults are going off, I've got 2 people with resistance down on them that I lock out, because the ult is going to lock them out. And if you do the ult one at a time to make sure you get the lock that you wanted. And if you don't, I usually do the gene last, because that's the 100% sleep for 2 turns. With the resist down, nobody resists the sleep for 2 turns at that point.
A built light moonflower.
She actually is useful. I actually used her to clear some of the light floors on the way up to 99, because she has both the taunt and the saps, and the saps were very, very useful for being able to punch up through the floors there.
And then your favorite Ashmon in the game?
Well, no, but but she is a fun Astromon to have on a team.
I just wish they would update her. Yeah, she has the weird morale boost buff.
The amount of damage they deal. So you want to pair her with somebody that deals lots of damage so that they keep their morale boost running. So for example, if she were paired with a Courageous Striker, and that Courageous Striker had the Courageous Strike in their 5-star ult slot, they should always keep their ult slot maxed out against higher tier Titans, because they should always be doing enough damage to fill the SP bar all the way back up again.
But even with her lead, is it worth wasting a slot to give her this when you could pair your Courageous Striker up with a healer that could... No, like a healer that could boost their attack?
With a healer that can use attack up, like the Water Cura.
Who also has exposed weakness.
That's a good question, and I think the answer is probably going to be yes, because if you could guarantee that every turn your 5-star attacker with Courageous Strike was going to land their Courageous Strike because it was always active, versus every 2 or 3 turns they get their attack off and land the Courageous Strike, what do you think is going to give them more damage? I think 3 landings of Courageous Strike would give them more damage than 1 landing of Courageous Strike. Or potentially no landings of Courageous Strike if they got unlucky and didn't get the SP because the healer kept getting it. They were doing great damage on their 3-star attack, but they weren't ever landing it, the Courageous Strike in the 5-star slot. So I think it would matter which slot or slots your Courageous Strike was in. A Wood Merlin would always be better having the Water Cura than having the Dark Cura, because the Wood Merlin has Courageous Attack on both slots. But anybody else, I think, would be better off being able to guarantee that they were always using their courageous strike as opposed to not using it. I have no math to back me up on that, but that's my opinion based on just playing as to how I think that would play out.
This man's over here dropping some hot takes. Dark Merlin here, pugilist set.
Yeah,
wait, triple attack?
Maybe
triple attack. Dark Merlin.
That's what he's got. You notice some of them are 5-star gems, so he definitely needs a little bit of
do you
tweaking.
use him?
I do use him sometimes, and usually he sticks around a while too. So he will land decent damage.
This is a situation that I did not anticipate. Every time, this has been a wild and wacky ride.
I told you you'd like all the gems in my guys.
Yeah, I would love to get mine booked up one day, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on that.